man. Oh shit. Hey man, what's good YouTube? It's your boy, your host, Rest God Dragon Squad. Bitch! Back with another reaction. Today we here with something from film theorists. Why the theories of Star Wars killed Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Now, bro, I don't even know if I like that movie or not, bro. Like, that movie was just so, I don't know, not forgettable, but it's like I couldn't even remember what the fuck I thought about it. I don't know, but I've been watching a whole lot of people do their reviews, and the niggas talk about they hate it. Jody's Corner, my nigga Tyrone Magnus, like everybody was just talking about the shit was trash or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I think I might have said it was bad or average, but the epic moments kind of made it up. Like all the epic moments made it up. But we're gonna see what film theorists had to say about this though, man. I don't really know. I don't know. The theories low key sound better than the movie, my nigga. Facts, facts. So we finna see what this shit talking about. I only heard like a couple theories, but we finna get into this Jane though, man. Let's get it. Here's to a spectacle doesn't run the sword, bro. Let's get it. My G.
You know, you can't get a movie that's much more polarizing than The Last Jedi. Top critics on Rotten Tomatoes have given it a 96% certified fresh rating, while audiences score it at only 49% positive. On Metacritic,
who even cares about Rotten Tomatoes, bro? Like, they be lying, bro.
Positive compared to 38.2% of audience reviews. So, who's to blame for this disparity? Ryan Johnson? Internet trolls? Porgs? As it turns out,
I thought I was about to say porn.
Welcome to Film Theory.
Hey!
On the internet, we're talking about data regression and social psychology will actually make you more popular. And speaking of popularity, you may have heard that the biggest film franchise in history had another installment open not too long ago. No, not that one. Pitches. Though I can't imagine how they've come up with 3 movies worth of acapella puns.
My fellow Aka people.
Oh, I'm Aka G!
Listen up, Aka ballers.
Excuse me?
Oh, they just shoved the word acapella into things where it really didn't belong, so they didn't even try.
The fuck?
No, I'm of course referring to Star Wars. And before I go any further, I'm gonna make 2 things clear. One, if you still haven't seen The Last Jedi and have somehow avoided spoilers for over a month,
that's what I'm saying.
For you, well then, you should probably
I had to stay on social media, my G.
Also teach me your spoiler-repellent ways, oh intrepid navigator of the interwebs. And 2, I know that every word I've ever said about Star Wars to this point has been about as reliable as Hayden Christensen's acting.
What have I done?
But bear with me here today, guys and gals, because today I'm not trying to predict Star Wars. I've had enough of that. Instead, I'm gonna analyze it. Namely, how we can explain the huge differences in response to The Last Jedi. A lot of people loved it, particularly the critics.
I loved it the second time.
Yeah, good.
And a lot of people hated it.
And at this point, I hated the movie so much.
And boy, did the haters hate it. I mean, right now there's a petition written for Disney to remove The Last Jedi from the Star Wars canon and complete Episode 8. And you would think that this is one of those far-out fringe petitions with a few dozen signatures, but
see, I'm not one of them huge Star Wars fans, so I probably wasn't feeling what y'all was feeling.
I've signed this thing. This type of extreme divide is pretty unusual, and so I, of course, wanted to analyze what the underlying cause was. But apparently, I didn't have to look too far for my answer. It was me the whole time. No joke. Ryan Parker from The Hollywood Reporter said, quote, "Points of disgust seem to run the gamut, but perhaps the underlying factor can be traced back to expectations born out of wild theories stoked by fan sites and YouTube channels." Sure, but he could be talking about literally any of the dozens of great Star Wars creators. Oh, no, wait, no, it's definitely me. Quote again, "A prime example of wild expectations not met is a fan-made video on YouTube titled Film Theory, Raised Parents Solved. The fan video, more than 12 minutes long, deconstructs dialogue, looks between characters, and even the seating arrangement for the table read of The Force Awakens." Yeah, okay, but surely this has got to be an outlier, right? Nope, here's another. From Nick Johnston at Vanya Land, quote, lurking behind all this bitterness is a poison that's obliterating our
That's
cinematic
fucking
visuals.
obliterating. You forgot that word, my
Not
G.
only am I, Matt Pat, small little YouTube creator, bringing down the entirety of the Disney empire, I am also destroying the entirety of film criticism as we know it with my ability to overanalyze. Well, if claims like that don't deserve an episode, I don't know what does. At the risk of getting Inception levels of meta here, today's episode is a theory about theories. Do theories hurt movies and our enjoyment of them? Should I be looking for a new job? Why have I not fulfilled my loser's half of the bet I made last Star Wars episode and reenacted a scene from The Room yet?
You gotta tell me.
All in good time, my friends. All in good time. So if we're gonna determine whether theories are ruining movies, let's start with a pretty basic question. Can we prove that theories fundamentally change our experience when we watch something? According to psychology, the answer is a resounding yes. And there are 3 principles specifically that prove it. The first is known as the mere exposure effect, which states that people tend to prefer things, people, and ideas with which they're familiar. Here's how it works. In 1968, psychologists set up a study where they showed people who don't speak Chinese a series of Chinese characters, and then asked them to guess what the characters
I think I heard
meant.
about
Some
that.
of the
I took
characters
Chinese high school 3
once or
years.
twice, but others showed up as much as 25 times. And the researchers found that as subjects saw the same characters over and over again,
First time I got a
they
C,
started
second time I got a
noticing
B,
that
and then
they
third
meant
time I got an A,
more
so
positive
that's
things.
tough.
In short, the more familiar something feels, even if it's something as
Or it
foreign
was the
as
last 2 years I had an A. I don't know, it was one of them
the
shits.
more likely we are to have a positive reaction to it. And this absolutely applies to The Last Jedi. With any Star Wars movie, you're gonna get a lot of new developments, new characters, new creatures, etc. But The Last Jedi gives us a lot of them. And
Exactly,
dedicates
and
a
it
lot of
never built it
screen
up
time
though,
to them.
and they
You have
never built it
Admiral
up.
Holdo, who we've never even heard of before, who's suddenly
Bro.
a big deal in this Resistance
See,
and gets a whole
I-
lot of screen time. DJ
I thought she was a big deal in the old shits, in the old movies.
As is Rose Tico, doing
That's what I'm
whatever it is
saying.
Rose Tico does.
Why were
and
you in the
hordes,
movie?
And crystal foxes, and judgmental fish nuns,
I
and
don't have a
milky
problem with it,
lizard
though.
giraffes. And that's just the
That shit had titties.
We're not even mentioning new force powers like astral projection, telepathy, near-death space telekinesis. It's
Yeah.
a lot of newness to take in. And
Exactly.
honestly, theories reinforce the mere exposure effect because they tend to focus on characters and storylines that already exist and make predictions that are at least rooted in what happened before. In my prediction videos for The Last Jedi, I wasn't like, hey, a new purple-haired character will come out and save the day in one of the most badass climaxes of all
Yeah,
time.
that shit was lit.
Leia will pull out force powers, the likes of which we've never seen her use before, nor have
That
we
was
ever
crazy.
really seen used in the franchise before. Simply because that would be a crappy theory. They're baseless assumptions. They would come out of nowhere. The best theories, regardless of whether they're right or wrong, need to be housed in evidence, which
Yes,
means
and
relying on what
facts.
already exists,
Yeah.
not what's new. And sure, if you're exposed to theories of why Han and Leia are undoubtedly raised parents enough times, yeah, you're gonna start to like that one too. It's mere exposure in action. Did you like The Last Jedi better
makes
after
sense.
seeing it 1 or 2 more times? Mere exposure again. Which ties nicely into psychological principle number 2 here, the illusory truth effect. The illusory truth effect is the phenomenon in which you tend to believe information that you heard repeated over and over, regardless of how true that information actually is. You know how you shouldn't swim for 30 minutes after you eat because you'll cramp up and drown? You've heard that 100 times, right? Well, scientifically, it's flat out wrong. It's a myth. The point is, though, that when we hear something a lot, we tend to believe it without questioning. And boy, oh boy, can theories play a part in that. Let's say you were one of the people who thought Rey was a descendant of Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you go to YouTube to check it out in more detail. You watch a video, you find it interesting, and then based on the suggested videos, you watch another.
Exactly.
Then
Like
another.
50 million
And the next thing
theories
you
on
know,
that
it's
shit.
3 a.m. You probably should have done your homework by this point, but oh my gosh, the odd one's out. Just put up another new video. Gotta watch that one. So now you gotta go watch The Last Jedi, and you might not even realize how much of an open mind you don't have at this point. There are some of you out there who probably don't believe me when I say that. Oh, sure, Matt Pat, I dabbled in theories about The Last Jedi, but I was ready to accept whatever the movie was actually about. Not according to science. According to a paper published in 2015, we are subject to the illusory truth effect, even if we know that something we're hearing doesn't count as established fact. Even if we know it's just a theory, your brain is starting to treat it as truth anyway. And the last element of psychology that's relevant here doesn't have a fancy, catchy name, but it's pretty simple to understand. The more information you have when you're making a prediction, the more confident you'll be about that prediction. Let me explain.
Facts,
because the
facts.
2008 paper
See, my nigga out here schooling me, man. I ain't trying to go to school till I ain't got school tomorrow.
Before they made
Hell
their
nah.
predictions, though, they were given little bits of random information about the teams. 6 factoids in round 1, 12 factoids in round 2, all the way up to 30. After making their guesses, they were then asked to rate how confident they were with their choices. As they were given more and more information, their accuracy in predicting who actually won the games stayed the same. But their confidence in those predictions being correct increased substantially. And I feel like it's necessary for me to bring this one up because this is the one that hits the closest to home for me. When I was researching for my theory on the plot of The Last Jedi, I felt like I went through everything. Trailers, tweets from the cast, movie posters, interviews, the extended universe, even pre-releases for merchandise. Did it help my confidence? Well, let's go to the tape. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Before anyone in the world sees this movie, I am gonna call the major twists of Star Wars The Last Jedi based on trailer analysis and good old-fashioned research. And to make things a little more interesting, let's put some stakes on it. If I'm right...
That nigga he literally threw some stakes on it, my nigga.
Channel and force push that subscribe button. And if I'm wrong, I don't know, that's your side of the deal. My guess is that superfans felt the same way. They'd watched the trailers 100 times and read everything they could get their hands on in the hopes of figuring out how The Last Jedi was gonna go, and those who really had a vested interest in certain things happening were probably pretty confident that they were right. And when things worked out differently than they'd expected, well, that's when we got a subset of fans who were less than pleased with the movie. So would some fans have been better off if there had been no theory about The Last Jedi at all? Yeah, probably. But slap a big old
Oh my
double
God.
C thick butt
Why
right
though?
here, Mr. Krabs.
But why
Because
though?
a move that will surprise literally 0 people watching right now. I'd like to defend theories for a second. Part of the
I should have
backlash
cropped
against
the
the
video for
backlash
that.
to The Last Jedi has focused on criticism of the movie that's
She cute, though.
misogynistic and racist. That Banyaland article from earlier, I quote, "There are 2 main factions inside the opposition to The Last Jedi. First, we have the alt-right, who are angry that a modern film franchise would include non-white and non-male people. The second faction is full of scorned fans
I
who
don't
are
know what you're talking
lashing
about,
out that
but-
The Last Jedi didn't meet their exact specifications for a Star Wars movie. Yeah, are those the only 2 groups of people disappointed with this movie? Nazis and fanboys? Remember, this is the same article
Yeah,
that said that
fanboys, yeah, of
theories
course.
were the thing ruining film criticism. Because let me come right out and say it, friends, I am not a political extremist, nor am I someone overly attached to the Star Wars franchise.
Me
And I
neither,
think
nigga.
that
I'm
there
not
are
even
some
attached to the
very
motherfucker
valid
at all.
complaints that you can level at this movie, ones that play into this whole idea of theorizing. Perhaps the biggest one, though, is that the movie tends to ignore the basic dramatic principle known as Chekhov's gun. The playwright Anton Chekhov famously coined the axiom that, quote, "If in the first act you've hung a pistol on the wall, then in the following one it should be fired. Otherwise, don't put it in there." In other words, don't tease elements of plot that don't actually pay off. You ever wonder why
Facts.
everyone loves
Facts, though.
Breaking Bad so much? Because nothing in that story was wasted. Everything that was introduced into Breaking Bad had a purpose and a payoff, right down to the Roomba. It was
Never
a
watched it,
contained
but-
story where there were no dangling threads. And when you're making prediction theories, this is the sort of stuff you've got to rely on. Why was this introduced into the story, and how will it factor into the narrative moving forward? Maybe I'm still great levels of being salty about being wrong, but when the previous
Salty.
film was filled with meaningful glances,
that was salt.
references to being called,
That lightsaber was Luke's and his father's before him, and now it calls to you.
even showing parents flying away, then you fill the next movie with repeated teases that they're about to reveal Rey's parentage like a dozen times.
Boy,
only
you
to
thought.
say, JK, doesn't matter, your parents were drunks who were buried in a random grave.
Boy, your ass got finessed.
Part of this movie's message is that things will disappoint you, that the Force isn't
Wow,
some
that's
secret
tough.
club that you have to be born into, and that some kids can just use it to sweep up without ever leaving the couch. But do you really expect to tease big reveals just to say that they're irrelevant and then not piss off moviegoers? If you set up things that don't pay off, that's gonna make some people upset. It looks like sloppy writing. You
Nigga, that popcorn
introduced the
$7. That nigga
backups,
threw the whole
went
shit at
the
him.
story, and then you immediately threw it away. And I get the point. This is a dismissal of everything that came before. But you gotta understand that
Yeah,
it's
but you gotta tie
frustrating
it in
from a
now.
storytelling standpoint because it leads us to the idea that everything is meaningless. By the same token, twists are only as good as the sense that they make. Admiral Holdo's plan to lightspeed herself into the First Order's
That was
cruiser
fucking
was
fire.
a really cool moment,
That shit
but
was
I have
fire.
a hard time making sense of it. Why let all of your other ships get destroyed before you do it? Why assume that the First Order isn't going to follow
True.
the transport
Facts,
ship?
though.
Why not tell Poe or everyone on board that this is what you're going to be doing in the first place?
Facts,
Occam's
though.
razor tells us that the best explanation is the one
I
that
ain't gonna lie,
requires
like
the
they
least
could have did that
assumptions, and
though.
some of the plans in The Last Jedi, particularly Holdo's plan, require us to make a number of assumptions. It could be a little unfair to dissect the plan from any movie and say, well, why didn't they just do this instead? But on the other hand, having audiences that demand consistency and logic in what they're watching makes for better content. And that's the beauty of theorizing. It creates more observant and critically minded viewers who begin to ask more of their filmmakers, asking them to think through the stories that they're telling rather than
You low-key,
solving
bro.
their
You
plot problems with
fucked it
cheap
up, my
gimmicks
nigga.
or Deus Ex Machina. Viewers who expect fictional worlds that adhere to consistent rules filled with consistent and believable characters. So maybe what we need to do is find an area of compromise here. We have to consciously separate theories from the art itself, because the only fair way to judge a movie or a show or a game or whatever is to judge it by its own merits, not by comparison to our own expectations. And by the same token, people who create art should welcome people thinking about it in creative and critical ways, because not only does that spark interest in their work, but it also forces them to dig for both the most interesting and most logically consistent way to tell their stories. And you know what? If you're still salty at The Last Jedi, or at the backlash The Last Jedi received, I think we'd all benefit from remembering the following review. Quote, "It's a big, expensive, time-consuming, essentially mechanical operation. It is about as personal as a Christmas card from a bank." That scathing review came from the New York Times. But they weren't talking about The Last Jedi. They were talking about The Empire Strikes Back when it came out in 1980. Now considered to be the best Star Wars film, and perhaps one of the best sci-fi films ever made. Times change. Tastes change. But one thing's for sure. I am definitely not going to try to predict the ending of Episode 9. Probably. Hopefully. At least until the trailer comes out and I can't help myself.
Man,
but
you are, my
hey,
G. Come on.
that
This is what you do.
A theory. Also a film theory. And cut.
We'll see you later, my G. Hey, my nigga smart as hell. My nigga be spitting them facts though. He be spitting them facts, my guy. Like, wow, I just now thought of that, bro. Like, why did she wait to have mostly all the shits be fucking destroyed if she was just gonna? I mean, I don't know. What was it? Because she was trying to catch him off guard while they was focused on the ships and they wasn't focused on the actual big one. I don't know, bro. I don't even know, cause like that low key shoulda, yeah. But yeah, man. To all the Star Wars fans, man, I know y'all were disappointed. Like I said, I'm not really too attached to the Star Wars franchise, so I was like, okay, but what was the last episode? The Force Awakens. That shit, that was fire. Like that was the first Star Wars that I think I've seen straight through. I think that was the first Star Wars I've seen straight through. I didn't see Rogue One, but yeah, man, there was a whole lot of unanswered questions. But was it really the film theorist's fault? No, all the little theories. I mean, I don't know, because you have that expectation from the theory, because the theory is based on fucking evidence, and then when the shit don't happen, yeah, you do not tend to like it. But I think that shit was a savable to be regardless if you didn't watch the film theory or if you did. To be honest, I don't know, man. Like, it just dragged for no reason. Like shit didn't even need to really happen that way. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I know I was watching Jodie's Corner and they was talking about like little Asian chick or whatever, and like him in the code, and they was like, why the fuck were we supposed to care about these people in the movie if they didn't there was no build up to them. Like they were following characters that we never seen before. Like I thought the purple haired lady like was in the older Star Wars or something like that, but I guess not. I guess not. But yeah, I know they was talking about like the code. He was saying if the two the two Asian girls, if they was like, what's her name, Rose, I forgot what the other girl was. If they was in the last movie, maybe they didn't have a big role. Either if it was both of them or just one of them or just the older sister, then yeah, then yeah, we might have believed it. But it's like, what the fuck? She came out of nowhere and now she's like, I love you. But I mean, she had admired him anyway from the last movie. She said it, but it's whatever. Anyways, man, that's all I say about this though. My man was speaking of facts. Post your comments down below. Tell you guys thought about this though. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Dislike if you didn't. Subscribe. I'll upload soon today, from Fridays, and then from now to the Dragon Squad. Bitch! Signing off that way, Dexter. Yeah.
Oh my lord.
If you're broken, grab the tool. 2D girl send me and she lose.
Okay.
Yeah. She want a quick dick, give her a snippet.
Yeah.
Flip it and skip it. Beat up the beat it and stop it. It's instant. You're fly like a chicken.
Yeah.
Anime my dick
Yeah.
on your mom. Yeah, ship it.
Yeah.
Your first is sufficient. I'm snatching your pendant. The gun clipping.